Go. 3, 2, 1, go. Or not at your leisure. Just whatever it feels right for you, I guess.
Hello, 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 beautiful people. Welcome to the Jared Cast. It's been it's been a while since we've done this.
Back
Um,
from the
I
dead.
know, dude. We didn't even warn you. But yeah, we're back and we got our best films of 2022. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be great. We got a lot of good movies to cover. Um, but before that, just how's life, Jared? What you got going on?
It's going pretty good.
Yeah.
Woke up with a massive kink in my neck, but I'm all drugged up and ready to party. Um, no, I've been good. Life has been breakneck speeds this year already. A lot being thrown at me, but most of it's positive. We're keeping busy and staying hungry. How are you doing?
Hell yeah. I'm also hungry because I'm doing intermittent fasting right now.
Oh,
yeah,
now we ain't.
yeah. It's just for like 7 days because I haven't decided. I know I want to eat better this year, but I haven't decided which diet I want to do yet.
Yeah.
And so,
So you're just none of
w-
them.
no. So I'm doing the one meal a day thing where I just eat dinner and that's it. And then, um, that's just to get my brain used to saying. I guess I've done it before and it's fine. I enjoy it.
Mhm.
It just gets my brain used to saying no to junk food while I'm deciding what's best for me. Yeah, yeah, it's fun. It's fun. And what is also fun are was 2022 in movies. It was a surprisingly good year. I feel like
Amazing here.
yeah, yeah. I feel like nothing really like blew my mind as heavily as Titan did in 2021, but still just amazing efforts from directors and writers and screenwriters or sorry, and what's it called? Actors all across the board. Yeah,
Yeah,
just really amazing work from a lot of people.
yeah, yeah. And I love that we got some great like indie art house shit and some great like blockbusters. Like it was just a
Oh yeah.
well-rounded year. Some great animation. That's just a good one. Good on ya, film industry.
100%, 100%. So, um, to celebrate 2022, we picked our 22 best ones. But before we get into our 2022 list, we got some honorable mentions that will function as our usual top five. But yeah, do you want to kick us off with your first honorable mention, Mr.
Yeah,
Jared Lombardo?
absolutely. And these are in zero particular order, because it's hard. So
Yeah.
I will start off. This is getting an honorable mention place just because it's like been in my brain. I don't think it's the best movie that's not on my list, or even in the top five best movies that's not on my list. Uh, but I got a weird appreciation for it, and that's Dinner in America. It
Oh,
might be the
very cool.
first 2000s period piece ever. It just has that feel. It's like a punk Napoleon Dynamite that follows a romantic comedy plot, and it's great. It stars the cop in Smile, whose name I don't remember, and a Broadway star whose name I don't know, Emily something. But it's got a lot of heart. It grew on me
Let's just look
as
him up.
yeah, I easily could. I'm just being lazy. Um, this is this is the kind of effort that I've been putting in for our grand return. Kyle Gallner and Emily Skeggs. Um, but it's just a lovable movie. Like the first 15 minutes, I was not a fan, and then my girlfriend and I almost turned it off and just watched something else. but as you like settle into the style and the quirks, it was delightful. I had a great time. So shout out Dinner in America.
Shout out Dinner America indeed. I've heard nothing but good things about this movie. I still have not seen it. Sadly, I missed out before we recorded, but I will check it out now. That sounds awesome.
Mhm.
My first honorable mention, in no particular order. No, I'll go alphabetical, just for the hell of it. I went with Babylon because it's either my number 50 of the year or my number one. It is such a mess, but it's so beautiful and it's definitely not Chazelle's best movie, but it is by far his most interesting because of the choices he was just able to get away with and because of how just batshit insane. Have you seen it?
No, I still haven't, despite
Okay.
being a
Um,
Chazelle.
I will refrain from revealing any details, but it's like Project X for film nerds. It's just that insane and crazy. um, and it's a little bit of a train wreck, but I loved every single second of it. So how could it be a bad movie? It's not a bad movie.
Yeah.
I don't know what these critics are thinking, man. They just forgot to have fun, I guess. But by far one of the best musical scores of the year. I think it's my second favorite. Justin Hurwitz's best work so far as a composer. I think that's the one thing that's objectively great about it. And the performances are absolutely insane. There's a cameo in there that I can't wait for you to see, just because I had no idea it was in there, and like I was like, oh my god, why, why?
Why are you here?
Yeah.
All
So
right,
Babylon.
I'm even more excited now. I'll be sure to catch it. I think it's still in my theater here, so I'll
I won't be surprised if you hate it, and I won't be surprised if you love
probably.
it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's like based off the minimal reviews that I've like ventured into reading. I think that's going to be my exam. I'm going to be like, I think it's going to be a love-hate relationship like that.
Yeah.
My next honorable
Mention is going to be The Woman King.
Mm.
A very pleasant surprise. I thought this one would end up being kind of schlocky. I expected a great Viola Davis performance. Delivered. Shocking. I know. But the performances by the supporting cast is amazing as well. And it was a intriguing story that I bought into, and I just had a great time with this one. It was a lot of fun.
I have also not seen this movie. Um, yeah, I missed it in theaters, and I did not get a chance to rent it, but I will check it out eventually. How was?
rent. Great action
Okay.
sequences too. I snuck into the theater after watching another one because I just didn't want to go home. But we were the only ones in there, and so they just shut it off after the first 10 minutes. So I had to like go back and rent it, and it was well worth the purchase. Sure.
Very cool. Very cool. Good to know. My next honorable mention is a film that just came out in America called Broker. It is by the same director of the film Shoplifters, but this time it's about a Korean misfit family, and yeah, it's very very interesting. Starring Song Kang Ho and Lee Ji-eun, who's better known as IU. She's a K-pop star who's just in a dramatic film for some reason, and she kills it. She gives an amazing performance. Do you know about baby boxes?
No.
So I guess there's this thing. I didn't even know about it until this movie, but there's this thing where people, where for abandoned babies, they have like these shelters and orphanages, and
I
you
I actually I think I yeah.
Yeah, okay. So this is it's like a weird, funny crime story about the lives of these people who revolve around this woman's choice to leave her baby there, and it's very, very good. A little messy, but still really, really beautiful effort and wonderful acting.
Hell yeah. Um, I love Shoplifters. I didn't know Broker was out in America, so I'm gonna definitely be checking that one out.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
my next, I'm trying. There are some on my honorable mentions that I mentioned in my episode that we did like the half year, some favorites so far. So I'm avoiding those, and discounting those. I'll give a shout out to another big surprise for me. I've been real tapped out on superhero movies, and this one was a pleasant surprise. The Batman. I know it's ranking high on a lot of people's lists. Um, I'm on the Battinson train. I actually enjoyed this one. I think it's one of the most gripping Gotham depictions I've seen
Hmm.
in any Batman entry across the board, and it held my attention for its incredibly long runtime, and that's way more than most superhero movies have done as of late. So I was pleasantly surprised by this one, even despite the positive reviews and the love that it was getting. I still went in skeptical, and I had a great time. It was a lot of fun.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Um, yeah. I got some stuff to say about the Batman later on.
Yeah.
And uh but my next one is Decision to Leave, the new film by Park Chan-wook. It was also South Korea's submission into the Academy Awards. I believe it made the shortlist, so we'll see if it gets nominated on the same day this episode comes out. Um, so yeah, I kind of wish this movie went darker. I kind of wish it went a little more deep into its characters, but you know, it's still masterfully crafted. Of course, Park Chan Wook is a modern master in his own right, and and making a movie that's a little more gentle. It's still excellent. It's still beautiful. Tang Wei gives one of the best performances of the year. She's so mysterious and seductive, and really, really stunning. And I'm not used to seeing Chinese actresses in Korean movies, so it was a very interesting dynamic for sure. Um, the name of the actor who plays the detective escapes me, so give me 1 second. Park Park Hae Il plays Detective Jung, and he's very very good as well. Very conflicted man, and I like it a lot.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll be talking about it later. Um, my next one, I'll give a shout out to the Bob's Burgers movie. Um, just quick one time for the Bob's Burgers
Woo woo.
movie. This one's a great. It does feel like an extended Bob's Burgers episode. That said, one of my favorite Bob's Burgers episodes, like easily. Some of the best musical numbers. They went super extra hard on those, and it pays off. All of them are fantastic. It's just a great lovable time. If you're a fan of animation, watch it. If you're a fan of Bob's Burgers, you probably already watched it. Watch it again. It's amazing.
This is the strongest year for animation in a long time, and I'm very very
Mhm.
happy about it. Um, yeah, shout out Bob's Burgers definitely. Um, my next honorable mention is Scream 5 or Scream 2022. Yeah, this is probably my favorite Scream sequel post. Yeah, I like it better than 3 and 4. Like it about the same as 2. I think this is just a really amazing homage to Wes Craven, and it opens the door for the current filmmakers of the franchise to really go crazy with it. The teaser came out for Scream 6, where it shows them on a subway. So we'll see Scream in the city, which is insane to me, and I'm very, very happy about it. Wonderful performances by the legacy cast and the new cast. This was actually my introduction to Jenna Ortega. I'm not like a hardcore Ortega stan like most of the internet is, but
Yeah.
she had like the best year besides Colin Farrell. Like she was just killing it nonstop for every month of 2022, and yeah, Scream was awesome.
Yeah. And lastly, for me, as far as honorable mentions go, this one was mentioned in my half-year review, but I do think it's my number 23. And even then, the bottom five are all like pretty interchangeable. And that's After Yang. I still love this movie. Had a pretty profound effect on me. I rewatched it, and it kind of, I don't know, it settled more into a lower place after the initial hype that I had watching it. But amazing performances all across the board. I love the way they dive into memories of another person and just what moments were special to him, to flesh him out and reconnect him as a father. It's a beautiful film. It's a very soft and gentle film, and it was a banger from Colin Farrell, who had an outstanding year this year. One of the best years for an actor I've seen in a long time.
Very, very true. My last one, I don't know where it would sit if it was included in my list. I don't know what number it would be. It's Vortex by Gaspar Noé. Uh, this is a very, very different film for Gaspar. Normally, he loves the sensory overload. He loves all that, just flashing lights and colors and crazy taboo subjects in your face. That's kind of what makes him him. But for this one, he is dealing with an old couple, and the entire movie's in split screen. Almost the entire movie's in split screen. So one is the follows the husband, who's played by Dario Argento, which is really impressive, and because he learned French for this movie. And yeah, he has heart problems, and then it follows his wife, who has dementia, and sometimes the camera perspectives will switch. It's very much not like the psychedelic stuff of Gaspar's past. He's really trying something different. I think maybe because of his own brush with death. He was involved in an accident a long time ago, or a couple years ago.
Mhm.
So I'm happy to see him back on his feet. I'm excited to see what his next thing will be, because who knows where he'll go after a movie this crazy and this heart wrenching. And the only reason it's not like in the top five is just because I literally got so sad about it that I had to walk out of the room.
Oh,
So I'll watch it again in like 3 years or maybe 10 years, and it'll be my number one of 2022 after that. Yeah,
nice.
it's a wonderful experimental film.
I'll have to catch that one as well. Shall we jump into the meat and potatoes now?
Do it.
There was a lot of amazing years. My short list is literally as long as my top 22 of 22. But there's only one movie where the filmmaker pours olive oil into Alex Jones's mouth while he does bench presses, and that's This Place Rules, which is the documentary from Andrew Callahan of Channel 5, formerly All Gas, No Brakes, as he just shows what led up to the Capitol riots, the way he saw it from being on the ground. It's fantastic. It's as chaotic as their normal stuff, and it's cool to see them get a bigger platform for their journalism. Because honestly, I think they have some of the most honest journalism out there, despite how chaotic and quirky it is, and how much it usually focuses on just the most insane people in this country. It was great. I had a great time with this one.
I'm sad to say I missed out on it, but very, very excited to check it out for sure. I have it bookmarked in my HBO Max. Um,
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. My number 22 is The Banshees of Inisherin. Um, It kind of took a second viewing for me to really appreciate this movie, partially because I couldn't understand what they were saying. Um, uh,
Around, man.
so watching it with subtitles definitely like helped me like see what McDonough was doing with the script, and also really appreciate the effort that the actors put into a really challenging piece of work. And there's a lot going on there dramatically, and a lot going on there comedically. And I think the film I think they could have put more effort into the cinematography and into the editing, but I still really enjoyed it. I think the acting is pretty much what keeps it this high for me, especially by Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, who I loved in Bruges as a duo. So this was a really interesting reunion, a very challenging reunion for fans of that movie, and so I really enjoyed this film. This is my number 22. Not as high as other people probably have it, but yeah.
Um, it's not on my list, so people will
Yeah.
be disappointed in us. Um, the more I've sat on it, the more I've liked it, but I think I might need a rewatch. I don't know. The McDonough train has just kind of left the station a bit for me. It is beautifully shot. The scenery's gorgeous. I like how he used a setting as a character, and performances are amazing. But I don't know. It just didn't quite hit the mark for me as much as others. But you know what
Fair enough.
did? Maybe the lowest budget film I've got on my list, and one that kind of just hit me in a very profound way that I did not expect, and that is the thriller "We're All Going to the World's Fair."
Mm,
Um, it's one of the better online movies I've seen in a long time. It's creepy as hell, but it's just very lonely. I think they captured what it's like to grow up on the internet, like constantly on the internet. Um, sure, it's a movie based off of like creepy pastas, but what you get is is just like I don't know, it's something special. It hit me in a weirdly profound way, without going into spoilers. Um, but I think it's a beautiful film with a great soundtrack. By Alex G, which is great. Yeah, definitely check this one out if you guys haven't.
yeah. The premise is the reason I didn't watch it, so uh,
Fair.
I'm happy to know that it's good, and I will watch it now.
Yeah.
My number 21 is also a thriller, but a very different one. It is Chloe Okuno's directorial debut and screenwriting debut. It is Watcher, a psychological thriller that takes place in Romania, starring Micah Monroe, who we all know and love from It Follows, and Carl Glusman, who used to be married to Zoe Kravitz. And
Who we
no,
all know and love as Zoe Kravitz's former husband.
no, I'm kidding. He's a really good actor, and he's really good in this movie as well. And Bern Gorman as well from Pacific Rim. Yeah, this movie is deliciously creepy, so beautifully shot. I normally get frustrated when digital color cinema uses just two colors in the movie, but this time it really worked super well, and they got real creative with it. And yeah, it's just a really like it shows a lot of promise in the director's potential, and especially yeah, a movie that's made for 5 million shouldn't look that good, but it does.
Number 20 is a big surprise this year for me. It's from a established franchise that I never really got fully on board. I liked the first entry. Following entries I either didn't see or thought were so. It's one that we reviewed. It's Prey. This one's great. You can go and listen to the full episode if you want the full review. But there's a lot to like here. I was enamored start to finish. One of my favorite performances of the year. And I really want to see the non-English version.
Definitely, definitely. Um, yeah, praise a very, very worthy sequel to the McTiernan classic. And this one is kind of a worthy spiritual sequel to Ruben Östlund's The Square. Of course, I'm talking about Triangle of Sadness as my number 20. Not everything came together quite as neatly as I would have liked from the square, but it's still super funny, super well made and polished, and just really biting satire. I was laughing my ass off at the vomit diarrhea scenes. Um, it was so good, and nobody else in the theater was laughing. I was like, "What?"
Really?
Yeah, I
Dude,
was like,
her sliding across the floor, like, come on.
it was brilliant. It was brilliant. But yeah, very, very surprised by Dolly De Leon, a lovely Filipina actress who I did not know was going to be in this movie. And, Jokoy made a whole movie, a whole family comedy about Filipino representation, and that was the whole marketing thing about it. And the movie sucked. And how does a Swedish movie have better Filipino representation than a movie by Jokoy? Um, I'm still pissed off by it. But no, yeah, she's like the highlight of the film. She's so good. And yeah, lovely surprise. And can't wait to watch it again.
Yeah, a great movie. I'm a bit of a Ostland stan at this point. Um, my number 19 has, I think, easily the most impressive animation, the most gorgeous animation, the most striking visuals. And that's Mad God,
Mm.
another one that we previously reviewed. I think in my initial review, and still to this day, I was hankering for a little more in the story, but like literally doesn't matter. Like I could watch just frames of this movie silently, just like anywhere projected on a damn wall, and I would still be just enamored by it. It's that visually striking and that interesting to see. I had a great time with this one as well.
You would watch it in PowerPoint form.
I would. I literally would.
Excellent choice. Excellent choice. My number 19 is another animated film, but it is very, very different. It's Turning Red. I have very vivid memories of the world in 2002, and Turning Red miraculously made a movie that fits perfectly in it. Like, not just capturing the time period well, but capturing what movies were like back then, from the narration to the soundtrack to the characters and to the pace of the comedy. It was really, really funny. Like, and a surprisingly fast-paced script that kept me on my toes from start to finish. And it didn't get too caught up in the nostalgia. I love the story about motherhood and about what it means to be like a good daughter and a good mother. I think that was just really powerful stuff. And yeah, Pixar killed it once again. I am very sad that this movie did not see a theatrical run, but um, yeah, I'm excited to watch it again on Disney Plus.
This was one I haven't seen. I usually tend to miss a lot of the Pixar releases, and maybe you've convinced me to give this one a shot.
It's pretty great. Like they all have this boy band crush, and the boy band gets like time to shine, and it's perfect.
All right. Yeah, I'll give it a try. Um, my number 18 was a Jared recommendation,
Ooh,
and was already on his list. This might be the first crossover so far, I think. And that's Watcher.
woo!
Yeah, it was great, man. It keeps you on your toes for sure. You don't really know exactly how it's gonna unfold until it does. It has some good fake outs that I like a lot. Some good horror moments, but just a lot of suspense. It captures the feeling of being kind of the awkward one in a foreign country, especially with people that are more familiar with the language and culture than you are, and you're kind of just the outsider, and how isolating that can feel. And I love that it paired it with a great reverse rear window horror movie. It's fantastic.
Dude, the convenience store scene. Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect. Wow.
absolutely.
Yeah. My number 18, I wasn't even really sure if it counted as 2022, but I just had to keep it on my list,
Yeah,
man. After Yang is so damn good. Love Coconata as a filmmaker. Oh, by the way, Columbus, I think, is on Hulu, so you can check it
okay,
out. Yeah,
nice. I did just start Pachinko too.
very cool. Um, Yeah, Colin Farrell, Jodie Turner-Smith, Justin H. Min, and Malia Emma Chandrawijaja, and Haley Louis Richardson. All amazing performances. Maybe my favorite opening credits of the year. I'm trying to think.
Absolutely, it is for me. Like
Yeah, okay.
hands down.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's so, so good. And very, very sensitive and subtle performance by Colin Farrell. And probably my favorite performance of his of the year. Yeah, so fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, great stuff. Coming in at 17 was one that I mentioned at that midway point, and it grew on me. It stuck with me, and that's "You Won't Be Alone," a Macedonian witch movie. But like not, it's like not scary at all.
Yeah,
It more so is just like showing the beauty of the world through someone who's been sheltered by it, who just so happens to be a witch and switches bodies. It's got great performances from everybody who plays the lead. All Navinas did fantastic. Um, and it's just a beautifully shot, beautifully directed just journey through this rural world of Macedonia.
definitely, definitely. Um, yeah, it's only scary if you don't like ASMR.
Yeah,
Uh,
true. So it's terrifying.
um, my number 17 is one that I got to see a special screening of with a Q&A. It was so much fun. Mona Lisa and the Blood Moon. Holy shit. Yeah, man. Jung Jung So, who I loved in Burning, gets to play a lead performance in here, and she's so subtle but so funny and really, it's surprisingly not surprisingly because it's an Anna Lily Amirpour movie, but the sweetness in the film sneaks up on you. Oh, there's also a wonderfully complex performance by Kate Hudson. Um, and it's also a very different cinematographic approach to Amirpour's work. You know, normally she does these anamorphic movies, and now this one looks completely different, and it really in the taller frame size, it's able to show off um, New Orleans in a really nice and authentic way, I think, and the super like kind of Terry Gilliam super wide angle close-ups just really sell it for me and kind of sell the insanity of the plot.
Yeah. Yeah, this thing is dripping in style and dripping in fun. I had a great time with it. You can go and listen to our review if you want. It's yeah, amazing performances. Just a damn good film.
True.
Also a damn good film. My number 16, one of the most talked about movies of the year, and that is Tar. I was skeptical going in, but had a real fun time with it. Kate Blanchett maybe gives her best performance ever. Hot take, maybe. She absolutely destroys it. I kind of I don't know. Before I watched this, I was a little sick of it just because of the discourse it created on cancel culture. Thought it was going to be about that and kind of circling that. But I think it gives a really profound take on people abusing their power more so than the cancel culture. This character treats every single interaction as performative as possible to just get what she wants, and it's devious and it hooks you in. I had a great time with this one. I think it's definitely worth the conversation that it's been receiving.
Absolutely. I think that I love the lecture with the students where it's like I'm so close to being on her side, and then she just starts humiliating this kid, and I'm like, bro,
Yeah,
come on, you were close, you were so
yeah.
close. um,
Like she just makes some good points and then undermines everything.
I love it. I
Just
love it.
rips it away.
Um, yeah. And my number 16 is uh, completely different in terms of tone and aesthetic style and artistic approach, but I think it is no less wonderful. It is Weird, the Ali Yankovic story.
Hell yeah.
This is absolutely, positively the funniest movie of the year, and I am itching to watch it again.
Mhm.
The endless cameos that were just there just to be cameos was brilliant. Freaking what's it called? Evan Rachel Wood as Madonna was pitch perfect. Yeah, ripped Daniel Radcliffe is just daddy. Like I just love him. He's so
Absolutely.
funny. The way they fake the inspirations of his songs is just it's so fun. Like it's nonstop laughs the entire movie.
Yeah. Your mom, she's just getting fat. Oh, so good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, big fan. My number 15 is one of the cutest movies of the year, and I still cried like a little baby in it.
Mm.
And that is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Yeah, the mockumentary esque stop motion from Dean Fleischer Camp has so much heart in it. It's so beautiful and simple, but it pulls it off in a great way. I thought this one would have me rolling my eyes, and instead I was bawling them out. I think it's a gorgeous film. It's hilarious, and I don't know. I left the theater a changed man.
Hell
There's one line that like fundamentally just like broke me for the whole year. And that's when Marcel says, instead of like filming everything and documenting everything, why don't you just live? And I was like, oh fuck, no, no.
Oh, yeah, definitely hit me in all places of my heart. I'm sad it missed my list, but I'm glad it made yours. My number 15 is Crimes of the Future. Yeah, so good. Cronenberg is back in the horror space, and it just makes me so happy. It makes my heart feel so warm inside that this guy can still gross me out in 2022. Like, I he's the best. He's the best. He's on the Mount Rushmore of horror filmmakers, horror auteurs,
Mhm.
and yeah, wonderful performance by Viggo Mortensen, Lea Seydoux, and uh, Kristen Stewart, who's just perfectly cast. Like she's so funny and awkward, and I love every second that she's on screen.
Yeah. You might hate me for this one. I tried watching it twice, and I got like half hour in, and I was like, I'm more in the mood for something else, and I just haven't seen it yet. I was like, I know what Cronenberg's about, and it's not really what I'm feeling right now,
No,
and
it
so
makes
I just
sense.
still haven't gotten around to this one.
Yeah, no, it's you gotta be in the mood to feel gross inside and what like you want to take a shower. So I understand.
Yeah.
Um,
My number 14 kind of left me feeling gross inside. And it's also a tie because fuck you, I make the rules now. Um, because I couldn't decide which of these I like more. And they're so heavily intertwined, and that's X and Pearl.
mm,
I think I would, gun to my head, give a slight edge to Pearl, but both are absolutely fantastic. It feels like Ty West and Mia Goth are just like brute forcing their way into the industry the way Pearl would, and I love it, and I'm fully on board. I think both take on such a fantastic and vastly different style, and the fact that is they're both fantastic and they're both a lot of fun. Just has me smiling and waiting for the third installment.
I agree that Pearl is fantastic. Um,
Still not on board the X train.
I enjoyed X. I enjoyed X a lot. Um, um, but speaking of letters, my number 14 is a different letter. Three times. It's RRR, otherwise known as Rise, Roar, Revolt. Uh, the best title of the year, probably. And yeah, man, this is everything you could possibly want out of a movie. I loved every second of its 3 hour and 2 minute runtime, and I can't wait to watch it again soon. I'm trying to find a movie theater in LA that plays it in Telugu. There's nothing wrong with watching a movie in Hindi, but I want to see it outside of Netflix. And, yeah, some of the best action scenes of the year, some of the best music, one of uh, mm, the best original song of the year for sure. And yeah, I hope it at least gets nominated for that in the Oscars because it took the world by storm and it deserves all the praise it gets.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, might be like the most fun movie of the year. Is a damn blast. My number 13 is one that we reviewed. It is just a great, just a great commitment to everything it's trying to do. And we got a digestible Eggers film. It's The Northman. Um, this one's just great fun. I forgot who said it, but some reviewer I watched on it said that it feels like a movie that the Vikings would make, and I think that's the best way to describe it. I think just a lot of fun. It's the only movie with two dudes fighting on a volcano, and I want that more. I just want that more. Um, Beautiful performances from everybody from Skarsgård to Anya Taylor-Joy, all the way to Bjork, down the line, top to bottom. Fantastic. It's beautifully shot, and it's just a world I want to soak in.
Absolutely. Um, at least like three times a year, my brother, or three times last year, my brother sent the family a clip of him like screaming at the top of his lungs, like, "I will have my vengeance!" And like, and I'm like, it was great. That's like
Real.
that's like the best medium shot of the year, just of him screaming his intentions.
Mhm.
So good. Yeah, my number 13 is uh this is a like it's a real fucking movie, man. It's a real it's a real reason
I
to
hope so.
to go to the no, like it's a real reason to go to the theater because you're guaranteed to see something you've never seen before. And I wasn't a fan of the first film, but this sequel blew me away visually and sonically. Of course, I'm talking about James Cameron's Avatar: The Way of Water. That's right, folks. Avatar 2 is better than Banshees of Inisherin. Uh,
I would agree. It's not on my list, but I agree.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think, obviously it's not perfect. It has some things in the story, but I think all of those things will be remedied by the end of four. Obviously, he's sowing the seeds of like a really, really big world, bigger than I can even imagine. And apparently, the way the cast is teasing us, they're like after the time, there's going to be a time skip in Act One of Avatar 4. And after that time, and that's going to be make us like just all our jaws drop because we won't see it coming. So it makes me excited for the future of cinema. It makes me excited for the like just technology in general and like how we shot films. They apparently used like UV rays to shoot above the water and infrared to shoot underwater, and do motion capture, like so that they can go in and out of the water for real. Like the Jungle Book was like really gorgeous animation, but it was animation. This is like real people doing real things, and the CGI is just the makeup above it. They're really diving in and out of the water. Kate Winslet held her breath for 7 minutes acting in this movie. It's got some of the best action, choreographed slow mo that I've ever seen. Just super badass, like the pregnant woman upside down on a flying seahorse while throwing a spear at a guy. Like, what the fuck? This is great. Never bet
Hell
against
yeah.
James Cameron. Never bet against James Cameron. And a very surprising performance. The thing that I liked most about it was the kids. I think I like them a lot better than Jake and Neytiri, even though I like Neytiri. But yeah, I'm very excited to see where Loak's and Kiri's story goes.
Yeah, yeah. I think it is better than the first one, and better than Banshees, but I'm still not. I don't. It still hasn't cracked my top 22. Like I don't. It's not quite there yet. Technically, amazing. It has me just like hyped on cinema, and I think this year needed like the hyped on cinema type movies. This brought it. Top Gun brought it. However, the story still just doesn't have me, and I need
Makes
that.
sense.
Um, um, that said, my number 12, another big budget by a director who just give him all the money to make whatever the fuck he wants at this point. Because that's Nope.
Mm.
One of my favorite alien movies ever. One of my favorite aliens ever. Just one of the most badass designs for an alien that we've ever seen. Being able to tie in the weird monkey stuff to an alien story seamlessly as he did and make it work and connect on multiple thematic levels was fantastic. I think Kiki Palmer came back with one of the greatest performances of the year. Daniel Kaluuya absolutely knocked it out of the park as always. Stephen Yeun knocked it out of the park as always. It's a spectacle movie in a world that is obsessed with bigger, broader, better. And this one brought the damn heat. Some horrifying sequences in here, and some beautiful sequences in here. I was absolutely captured by this one. Saw it twice in theaters and would see it again in a theater in a heartbeat.
Yeah, man. When they play the like old timey like John Ford Western music underneath Daniel
Oh,
Kaluuya on the horse. Oh,
oh,
brilliant.
good.
So, so good. My number 12 is Tar. I think Kate Blanchett and Todd Field pulled out all the stops in tackling a very complex protagonist, um, who I never rooted for, but still wanted to watch. and I think that's very, very difficult to do. It's very, very challenging, and I think it is Kate Blanchett's best performance so far. The physicality of her on when she's on stage versus when she's in public, when she's in private, is just so finely tuned, so well researched, so well prepared. This is just we're just watching a master at work, and yeah, she deserves all the praise that she's getting for it. Um, yeah, the ending too was like, is this what I think it is? And then it was, and I was like, oh wow, dude, this is such a good way to end the movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of Todd Field's other movies, but I definitely want to now.
Yeah, I don't think I have unless unknowingly. But this was a great one. I am definitely on board the Todd Field train. Um, Number 11 for me, halfway down this list, barely missing the top 10, and that might change based off another viewing. Is one of the most subtly devastating movies of the year, and that's After Sun, or After Sun. I don't know why I put so much emphasis on Sun, which is I don't know. It kind of made me think less of After Yang because of the tie-in with depiction of memories, because it just did it so damn well.
Yeah,
Some of the most creative shots, just of the year, are packed into this. It has the undertones of just something horrible happening, but it doesn't tell you what. It won't spoon feed you what. But it just feels like you're a kid again, knowing something like gross and weird and just unsettling and bad, just generally bad, is happening. And it just lets you sit in it and stew in it despite happy things happening for most of the movie. This one was uh, a slow watch, but one that like blew me away, especially for a directorial debut. Absolutely loved it. Paul Mescal, maybe my favorite performance of the year, to be honest. I think
it's a
it's
good
just such
choice.
a great um, coin. With on one side it's this goofy ass dad, on one side it's this devastating depiction of mental health and loneliness and just deterioration. I absolutely loved this movie.
Yeah. Um, if if uh, if there's anyone besides me that like I'm happy Phoebe Bridgers is dating them, it's Paul Mescal. Like,
Fair, fair.
um, no, I'm just kidding. No, he's great.
The other day, tangent. I was hyping up Boy Genius to Renato,
Oh
and I was
yeah.
like, Phoebe Bridgers could like spit in my ear, and I would still recommend it to people.
Something about that skeleton sweater, man. I don't know what it is.
So bad.
uh, we're on 11, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Um, uh, my number 11 is Barbarian. It's been forever since I had this much fun with a horror movie with a crowd. Just getting to see everybody's reactions the first and the second time I watched it in theaters was so good. Georgina Campbell, her best performance so far. Justin Long's best performance so far. Bill Skarsgård, who I'm obsessed with, is also great in here, and Richard Brake, who I'm also obsessed with, is also great in here. And this was, yeah, a runaway hit by first-time solo screenwriter director Zach Kreger. Uh, I don't know how you've managed to do it, but if you've managed to avoid spoilers and you're a fan of horror right now, please, please, please go watch Barbarian. It's the cat's pajamas. It is so damn good. Yeah, highly recommend.
And it's directed by a dude from The Whitest Kids You Know. What? That
Brilliant.
shouldn't happen.
It's brilliant. Um,
All right. If there was one movie that was just made for me and me alone, not me alone, but if it was just made to cater to all my tastes on every single fundamental level, it has to be the the Al Yankovic story. Um, Absolutely amazing. The way it pokes fun at a very played out and boring and stale genre of musical biopics, to ripped Daniel Radcliffe. Literally, the second he writes "My Bologna" in this movie, it was a top 10 film. Like it was just there. It's literally the funniest movie of the year. It's one of the most fun movies of the year. It's just off the rails in all the best ways. In a year where we got Elvis and Weird is just gonna shine even brighter. Like it's everything about it is amazing. From Dr. Demento, played by Rainn Wilson, to Madonna using Weird Al to further her career, is it's just a damn joy from start to finish. I literally had a smile on my face every second of this film.
yeah. I don't want to give too much away, but the end credits when they show him.
Oh, go watch this movie.
Oh shit. Yeah. The discovery of Amish paradise was the highlight for me for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, an amazing film, and yeah. My number 10 is kind of a surprise. I didn't expect to like it, and I ended up loving it. I was completely captivated by Mia Goth's performance in Pearl. Um, yeah, this is a perverted riff on Douglas Sirk's melodrama style, and it's absolutely masterful in terms of its playfulness, in terms of its darkness. Um, you know, oftentimes when people explore dark subjects of the feminine experience, I wish they would go darker. I wish they would show. I wish they would allow um, women in these films to go to these weird and crazy places beyond the real and the surreal, just someplace that it can only exist in cinema. And yeah, she's an all-time great horror villain after this origin story. And yeah, the Scarecrow scene was amazing. I think this is my favorite Tyler Bates score ever. I normally don't like his scores, but yeah, he looks great. Apparently, they like they the crew on Avatar 2 was on break, and so that's why they were able to make the movie for so cheap, was because they just had the crew right there in New Zealand with them. Um, so yeah, so it's less than it's $1 million budget, made 9.4 million in the box office, and yeah, I can't wait for part three because this was great.
Yeah, yeah, I loved it. Um, big fan, and I'm glad it redeemed the franchise for you. My number nine, I think, is one of the most, maybe the most underappreciated movie of the year. I feel like people liked it when it came out. It has positive reviews pretty much across the board. But I think it's even better than people are giving credit for. It's one we reviewed. It's The Black Phone.
Mm.
I think we had a amazing year for horror this year, and I think this entry was one of the best. In fact, I'd say it's the third best. Um, I absolutely love it. From the child performances by Mason Thames mostly to Ethan Hawke giving one of the most unsettling performances of the year. I had a lot of fun with this one. It falls into a bit of predictability, but I think that's no mark against it. Like it has maybe the single best costume piece of the year too, with his mask. Big fan. Top to bottom, this one's a great time.
So good. Yeah, I keep thinking about that image of Ethan Hawke sitting on the door in front of the kitchen with his shirt off, and it's just
Yeah.
so fucking
Ooh,
crazy.
yeah. Intimidating as fuck.
I love it. Um, yeah. Shout out Black Phone. My number 9 is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. I don't think this is just uh, the best animated film of the year. I think it is probably one of the best animated films of all time. And not just because of its technical achievement in stop motion or its brilliant expansion of the Pinocchio fairy tale, but because it feels like a culmination of a lot of things that Guillermo del Toro was trying to approach early in his career, about death, about aging, about childhood, and about the relationship between adults and children, and about civil obedience and disobedience, and um, just riffing on the fairy tales of his childhood, like everything that Del Toro did with Kronos, with Devil's Backbone, with Pan's Labyrinth. Um, all of it comes back here in a really amazing way. I love Desplat's music as well, and the fascism angle was a pleasant surprise for me, and I was very pleased with how well executed it was. Um, Wonderful music. I still don't know how they did how they're able to do some of that stuff, like from a technical standpoint. It's just really good. The big fish or the whale looked stunning and grotesque. Um, and Ewan McGregor was just so nice and sweet. Also great Kate Blanchett in a dual role. Uh, yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Yeah. Uh, Absolutely fantastic movie. Um, my number 8 was, I think it's the most recent watch on my list. So upon sitting on it further, might fall, might rise, probably won't rise. But I think it's one of the most devastating movies of the year. I was done so dirty by Darren Aronofsky on this one, man, because The Whale had me crying like a little baby at the end. And then the motherfucker had to put the credits over a white screen to just show everybody my tears. I'm out here watching The Whale at noon alone, and he just decides to put me through that torment. So big shout out to Aronofsky for that one. I think Brendan Fraser gives a staple performance of the year, one of the best for sure. But the supporting cast, honestly, like makes this movie so much more well-rounded than I could have possibly expected. Big shout out to Sadie Sink and Hong Chow, both just incredible. Hong Chow had a fantastic year too between this and the menu. Absolutely killing it. And Sadie Sink between this and Stranger Things had a phenomenal year as well. Um, the simplicity of the set being very play like, obviously coming from a play, just furthers the isolation and the depression you feel just watching this character's life unfold. Um, I had one of my biggest laughs of the year in this, just when the first thing he eats in this movie, is crispy, crunchy chicken, which is only from gas stations. And like a week before this, I was there at the local Pinnacle, and this couple in front of me bought $60 worth of crispy, crunchy chicken 5 minutes before closing, so you know it's been out for hours, and it was just like the most repulsive thing. And then just seeing that, I lost it. Probably shouldn't have, but this movie, at the end of the day, still has just a ton of heart. Absolutely devastating. Is it the most exciting movie? For sure, no. But I think it's a great, honest picture of some tragic life.
Definitely, definitely. Sadly, The Whale did not make my list, but I think it is a very good movie, and it does have the best, I think, the best dramatic acting of the year for sure. And there's that quote that, "Do you ever get the feeling that people are incapable of not caring?" That's the quote of the year.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's so good. Oh, brilliant, brilliant work by Brendan. Um, and I was so happy too, because normally when they do prosthetics like that, like it for obese characters, it's kind of like the makeup's doing most of the work, but I did not feel that with this movie at all. Like
No.
he's on fire.
Yeah, you forget that he's even in a fat suit. Like it feels like he gained like 500 pounds for this role.
Yeah, definitely. Um, lost my place. My number 8 is After Sun. I think, you know, like Jared said, Paul Mescal gives one of the best lead performances of the year. So does Frankie Corio. And yeah, probably the best editing of the year. There are some cuts where I can tell the director and the editor were just in the corner doing like a Mr. Burns, like, hey, this is so good. Yeah, shout out Blair McClendon for the best editing of the year, in my opinion. Um, and yeah, Charlotte Wells killed it with this really original story, really beautifully realized, and um, excellent use of the song Under Pressure, both just on a surface level of like him feeling the anxiety that the lyrics that are present in the lyrics, but also just the loneliness of at the heart of that song, and and then isolating just the vocals of it when he's in the club. It's so good. It's so good. Or the rave. Um, yeah, all the pool scenes of like her getting like almost kicked into the water to death by these kids who are bigger than her. I've been in those situations, and it just felt so real. Being in that kind of in between of like knowing sort of who you are and starting to get to understand who your parents are, but there's so much mystery to them, and they just capture that age of that character really, really well. So yeah, I want to get After Sun on Blu-ray for sure. That's one that's like to own.
A gorgeous, gorgeous film. Highly recommend if you haven't seen. Although I'm gonna say second best editing,
Mm.
and that's because my number 7 has the best editing of the year for me. I think on a technical level, this is I don't know, because like Avatar, obviously on a technical level is like a different planet.
Yeah.
But I think from like classic cinema standards, this is like the best technical achievement. And that's Decision to Leave. I think they do
Mhm.
so much with the cinematography and the editing that you just get tons out of it. I think it's the densest movie of the year. I think I need to rewatch it like 4 more times just to understand everything. But even what you do grasp on a first watch, um, is amazing. It's one of my favorite noir stories I've ever seen. and one of my favorite romances I've ever seen. And it's the same movie. That's amazing. Park Chan Wook can really do no wrong for me. Handmaiden and Old Boy are some of the top movies of all time for me. And this one's right up there with it. He just delivers on the quality consistently, and you just feel his presence is so strong and such a good movie. Such a good movie.
I agree. There's the specific like great editing moment that I can think of is when they first find the body and they cut in between the image of them inside of his eyes and the ant crawls over it and you're like, ah, that's awesome.
So good.
Yeah. My number 7 is a deeply satisfying and wonderfully spectacular action film with almost no holes. And I think, yeah, like Jared said, it's easily the best sequel in this franchise because it goes back to the core of the horror that John McTiernan created 35 years ago. Prey, starring Amber Midthunder and Dakota Beavers. And I forget who plays the Predator. Let me check. Um, the Predator is DeLigro. Dane DeLigro. Shout out him, man, because the way they rigged his suit, like the Predator's head was on top of his head, so was like facing outward. So he had to do this the entire movie. He had to look down at his feet the entire movie to kind of give it that hunchback look. Very, very cool. Uh, like seeing Comanche style combat in a sci-fi movie is something that I never thought I would ever see, and it worked so well. And yeah, brilliant use of the core themes of like what it means to be hunted, what it means to be a hunter, um, woven into the lore of this culture and also woven into the lore of this franchise in a really awesome way that makes me excited for the future.
Yeah, yeah. This one, like, I'm on board with the Predator franchise again, which is crazy. um, yeah, and like it made me appreciate hunting. And after like some personal shit that I've gotten through with that, like hardcore against it, and now I'm like, I get it, I get it. And yeah, just a fantastic movie. Um, big fan. My number 6 is the most surprising movie of the year for me. So many turns that every single one was a delightful and horrifying. Is Barbarian. This one was a damn roller coaster, dude. The second Justin Long comes in, like just that cut to him, I was like, "What the fuck am I watching?" And then it gets even more further down the rabbit hole that you go. The trailer had me hooked immediately. The hype had me hooked, and then the movie still delivered, still surprised, and still delighted. This one is stuck with me for great reasons and terrible reasons, and you should watch it, especially if you don't know anything about it. Like going in as blind as possible is easily the way to go. But even if you know what happens, you are not going to have a bad time.
100% agree. Yeah. I think the second best quote of the year is, "All right, bitch, get ready to get fucked."
Oh.
The way the movie handles a woman going into danger versus a man is the core of the story, and it's so brilliant.
So well executed.
My number 6 is Nope. But it gets a big yup from me because of its originality and gorgeous aesthetics. It's kind of an interesting it's interesting on a meta cinematic level about talking about spectacle and all that stuff, but it's also a really great character piece, about these young adults who want to defend their father's legacy, and on this farm, and make some money off of it, make a little money on the side. Yeah, it's one of the best sci-fi movies of the last 10 years, um, because I just love the idea that, like, in this modern world, the only thing that can beat this thing is analog tech. And I don't want to give away exactly what happens, but it's very, very cool, very, very amazing.
Yeah, yeah, great, great movie. Very, like, I'm always excited for the next Jordan Peele, but like this, I'm like, you could make literally anything and it's gonna be great. You
Yep,
made Sky Jaws, and I love you for it. Oh,
that's great.
um, another director that I would watch pretty much anything that they release at this point is Ruben Östlund. Because my number five is Triangle of Sadness. I think, like, the Square gets away with some like real heavy-handed satire, but like this one just turns it up way further, and I could not be happier about it. I think both halves of this film, I mean, there's like technically I think three or four parts that they point out, but it's a pretty distinct half point. I think both carry tremendous weight and are equally enjoyable. I could watch old people slide around on the ground full of vomit all damn day long if Oslin directs it. Literally, like, just having a ship go down while the a debate about economic theory goes on is one of the funniest just concepts that I could dream of. And yeah, this one is a delight from start to finish. The whole cast absolutely knocks it out of the park. I think it still has, even though it's like very obvious and very heavy-handed satire, I think it still makes pretty profound statements. I think it just absolutely hits the head of
It's the nail on the head.
the nail on the head. It nails the nail on the head, for just like what it's like to live in 2022. If there's one movie that's emblematic of just where we're at, just for this period of humanity and human history, Triangle of Sadness just knocks it out.
100%. Yeah, Zlatko Buric, who played Dimitri, is he's a recurring. He plays the same villain in like three of Nicholas Winding Refn's movies. So it was a very welcome surprise to see him here, and yeah, his scene with Woody Harrelson is goated. Um, yeah, 100%. Which of the I think you kind of hinted at it, but which of the pieces of the story is your favorite? Like, which of the acts is your favorite? Because I feel like um, a lot of people feel the same way about the last part, but I kind of like that better. I don't know.
Yeah. Vague. Yeah, I like, I think when they're on the boat, um is my favorite, but the last part is also amazing.
Yeah,
Just the power shift and like how power still just taints whoever has it, is amazing. I think Dolly De Leon is a damn treasure, and I want her in everything after this. And I think she makes the last part what it is. But I think I had more laughs when they're on the boat.
yeah. I probably enjoyed the first act the least when
Mhm.
they're just in the fashion world. But
Yeah.
But that was still funny too with the elevator.
Yeah.
I think what makes the last part like my favorite is the scene with the donkey, and they're like like it's just so it's it's so
It's so much. It's just so much.
and like all the men like hugging each other, like becoming bros
Yeah.
over it. It was perfect. I yeah, I couldn't get enough of it.
Amazing.
Yeah. Uh my number 5 is yeah, I think this is probably the sweetest movie of the year, and it's got some of the best uses of color, anchored by two, not one, but two amazing child actors, Josephine Sanz and Gabrielle Sanz in the film Petite Maman, also starring Stephanie Varupene. Uh, I'm sorry about all these. Stefan Varupene and Nina Miris. Nina M. I'm sorry, French folks, and Margot Abascal. Yeah, Celine Sciamma's uh, much shorter film than Portrait of a Lady on Fire still rocks just as much. Kind of about a young girl coping with the death of her grandmother, but with a twist. I think the twist is so clever and so sweet. I don't want to give it away because I had no idea about anything going into this movie, and I'm happy that I got to discover every single beat of it fresh. And yeah, it's so good. These two and these two girls, they're sisters, obviously, so obviously they're very natural with each other. But the way they handle the scenes with the adults too, it's just so professional and polished as far as their performance goes. Um, and yeah, very delicate, very slow moving, but still kind of short and sweet. I didn't need anything else out of it. It was a 71 minute, a 72 minute, full size meal, and I can't wait to watch it again.
Hell yeah. This was one that's slipped through the cracks so far, but it's like number 2 on my want to watch list right now.
Good.
Yeah, I'm very excited to dive into this one. And one that I was anticipating even harder for way longer was Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which is my choice for Best Animated Movie of the Year, and number 4 overall for Favorite of the Year. This thing is just packed full of whimsy and heart. It deals with like what it means to be alive, to what it means to lose somebody, what it means, just everything about it is so touching. It breathes new life into a pretty stale story that kind of everybody knows and everybody's kind of brushed off. There were 3 fucking Pinocchio movies this year, and still one of them managed to be my favorite, or one of my favorites of the year. It's gorgeous visually, and it's gorgeous emotionally. This thing, I watched it just a random night the random night that it came out, but I dragged other people into watching it. Loved it across the board, just glowing reviews, even from people who it's not really up their alley. I think it's a amazing accomplishment. If Del Toro is making a fairy tale, fucking watch it because it's gonna be amazing.
So good. Did you know it was a musical going in?
I thought it might be, but I hadn't heard that it was, and I was very happy when it was.
Same, yeah. When Pinocchio started singing, I was like, oh shit, okay, cool. This is that.
Mhm.
Um, and it took me forever um, to recognize the voice of the circus guy. Um, I forget his name in the
Oh,
film, but Christoph Waltz plays him,
Yeah.
and I was like, I know this like sinister like crocodile smile accent. Yeah. All the
Mhm.
supporting cast was great too.
Yeah. And David Bradley as Geppetto was great casting because he looks just like Geppetto.
Where does it sit for you as far as like the Del Toro Canyon? Canyon.
um, I think right now just under Pan's Labyrinth at spot number two. But honestly, after a rewatch, it might it might be my favorite Del Toro.
Yeah, it's one of his most polished for sure, like
Mhm.
narratively, and it's so good. I need to watch it again. Um, and I have no excuse now that's on Netflix. Um,
Yeah.
my number four, Jared guessed that it was going to be my number one.
Oh.
It is not my number one, but it could be. It's that close to being my number one. I fucking love Top Gun Maverick, man. It's so good. It's so damn good. Um, yeah, the a wonderful action drama by Joseph Kosinski. Um, and I didn't know Christopher McQuarrie came in to help with the writing, so that's probably why it succeeded story wise, and boy did it succeed for me. I was kind of a casual fan of the first one going into this. You know, I had watched the first one a bunch on TV when I was little, and I watched it in full back in the Netflix DVD rental days, and with my family, and I, you know, take my breath away and all that stuff, but. Um, you know, I was of course a lifelong fan of Tony Scott and his visual style, so that I took that with me going in. But I also had kind of like an ironic love for the first Top Gun because it is very cheesy and it is very like on the nose '80s, yeah, America. And then the reception of it was also didn't help. You know, the fact that a lot of military dudes kind of embrace it as military porn, even though it's not really military porn. It's
Mhm.
just kind of a movie about brotherhood. And but I think the sequel improved on that because it is aware of why people love the movie and self-aware of its own cheesiness, but it's never cynical. It absolutely it owns up to everything that it is and says like, yeah, yeah, and then they and then they give it to you in IMAX in the most wonderful use of IMAX besides Avatar that I've seen this year. Just the sound design of them being in the jets is so good. It's full bodied. It's not just screeching and not just bass. Like it's full bodied sound design that feels like feels symphonic. I think Tom Cruise is surprisingly sensitive in this movie. I wasn't expecting that of him. Um, Jennifer Connelly was a wonderful addition, finally revealing Penny, who's just literally has like is alluded to in one line in the first movie, and she becomes a full character in this one, and I really liked it. Um, and one of my favorite Miles Teller performances, probably since Whiplash. And yeah, as an action movie, it's perfectly cut, perfectly shot. I can't. I even the second time that I watched it in theaters, I was still kind of like sweating a bit. Um, and uh, yeah, it's so good. Love Top Gun Maverick. I hope they end it here. Despite its success, this massive box office success. Um, and it's also a wonderful tribute to Val Kilmer, who has been out of the acting game because of his cancer, and hopefully this will be a good gateway for him to come back and practice his craft again because he really is an amazing actor.
Yeah, yeah. I liked it. I did see it despite heavy reservations. I think it's one of the most impressively shot movies. Just like using natural light and like flying real jets is just absurd. Like it's
Yeah.
insane to put an IMAX camera in a jet. But I just don't care. Like I don't care about Maverick. I don't care about any of the other people. But it is fun, and I did like it a lot more than I thought I would. I get the hype. It's just not for me. That's that.
That's totally fair.
Um,
That's totally fair.
yeah, but you know what is for me, and also very catered to me, probably in terms of movies that are perfectly catered towards me. It's Weird Al, and then it's The Menu, and
Yeah.
The Menu is my number three. This was like just the perfect scenario for me when I watched it. I was out on a date night with my girlfriend. We went out to a restaurant we frequent here, and we were picking apart the food and critiquing it and like talking shit. And then we went and watched The Menu immediately after. And now I feel bad critiquing literally everything. It just guilts you that hard. The trailers, I was so 50-50 on this movie. I was like, it could just be ass and kind of ruin Anya Taylor-Joy's hot streak, or it could be like the greatest movie ever. And it was pretty damn close to the latter. It's a lot of fun. It's incredibly inventive and new and refreshing. Um, but I don't know, this one, like, it literally just changed how I view cinema and art in general. And it's also just a damn good like thriller. I was an absolute huge fan of this one. It's endlessly tense, it's endlessly funny, and it's endlessly surprising, despite me going into it thinking I knew exactly where it was heading. Um, just a damn good time.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% like it's a really, really impressive movie. I knew it would be on your list as soon as I saw the food inserts of that that's like
Yeah,
chef table style, and I was like, yeah, this is a Jared movie for sure.
100%.
The reason it's yeah, oh, Peter Deming did the cinematography too. Fantastic cinematographer. He did the Twin Peaks season 3. Um, yeah, I love Ralph Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicholas Hoult, and Hong Chow in the movie. I think the core four are what sold it for me. I wasn't sold on the rest of the cast, and that's kind of why it's not on my list. But I think it's a fantastic satire, and like Jared said, the specific comments that they make um, about criticism and about the relationship between art and its audience and the people who literally ingest and consume art. Yeah, it's great. It's The Menu.
Yeah. You telling me you didn't like John Leguizamo or Leguizamo as a washed up movie star? You didn't laugh.
I laughed at some of them. I laughed at some of them. Um, my number 3 is Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. There are so many meta cinematic elements and philosophical elements that are being juggled and thrown into your face and splattered all over your car, uh, and dirtying up your windshield and getting into your vents. But it's despite that sensory overload, it's ultimately, I think, where the story succeeds is I think it succeeds as a humanistic sci-fi, and that those are my favorite science fictions, the ones that are just about um, love and compassion, or about the opposite. And Michelle Yeoh's performance, everybody raves about it for a good reason. I think it's one of the best of the year. Same with Stephanie Hsu. I hope they both get nominated for Academy Awards. It feels like Ke Huy Quan is a lock for a nomination. We'll see. If he doesn't get it, then by the time the episode comes out and you're listening to this, you'll probably can picture me punching holes in my walls.
There'll be
Um,
riots in the street.
no, yeah, he's really, really great. the Daniels, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Shiner, or not, sorry, not the Daniels, Daniels as they prefer, uh, did a great job kind of taking what they usually do, which is like take a really complex, crazy idea, use um, really economical visual effects and original choreography and crude humor to hammer in a simplistic human theme and human concept. I think that's kind of what makes this movie brilliant. And yeah, this was the year for long ass movies, man. So many of the movies on this list are between 2.5 and 3 hours, and I don't mind. I'm all here for it. Make them longer. I don't care. Uh, no, yeah, and um, as a multiverse like story, I don't think it's as like original or insightful about that specific concept as Rick and Morty, but I think that because it has that core theme of just like people want to connect to each other, like that's where I keep crying when I watch this movie. I've seen it 3 times now. Yeah, the only ones that I've seen 3 times are Everything Everywhere and Avatar, and I can't get enough of the spectacle. I can't get enough of the Rakakuni. Um, and freaking Randy Newman has a song in this movie. Of course, why not?
Yeah.
Just cause. Yeah, I love that the movie was postmodern without any cynicism.
Mhm. Yeah. Fantastic movie. You mentioned this was the movie or the year for long movies, and I think there's one movie that did was just like the best time management. Um, I was into it for literally every second, and this thing is long, and that is Rise, Roar, Revolt. It's RRR, baby. Um, this movie, like, I had such an internal fight if I thought this was the best movie of the year or not, and most of it came down to the fact that there's a action sequence where they're piggybacking each other and a guy is dual wielding rifles. Like that alone is enough, and it's not even like the best action sequence in the movie. That's how amazing this is with its action. Every single one is like in the running for my favorite action sequence of all time. That said, a lot of heart in it too. You're like weeping at some of the like tragedies and atrocities you're watching, and then they're flipping motorcycles around and hitting people with it. Like the fact that it could balance both with amazing dance numbers, amazing musical numbers, and the best bromance to ever grace the screen. It's a damn 10 out of 10. I absolutely love this movie. It's everything that like cinema should be, um, piled into one. Sure, like the CGI is like pretty bad. Like the animals look awful, but like it just has so much heart and so much character to it that it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't even
Yeah,
come close to mattering.
that's part of the charm of it, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It leans into it and it knows what it's about, and it's like we're still gonna like tell this amazing story of friendship and revolution. Like they defeat colonization through friendship and dance. Like who cares what else is going on, man? It's such an incredible movie, start to finish. It's literally like the most fun you could have watching a movie this year. Very close to taking my number one spot. Just barely gets edged out, but like any day of the week, it could just overtake it.
100%, 100%. Yeah, I was this your first Bollywood movie or Tollywood movie?
um, First Hollywood, I
Okay,
think, but definitely not first Bollywood.
okay, for sure. Yeah, I I was I was in this not Reddit forum, but like just whatever chat thread, and um, the like everybody was talking about how much they loved RRR, and there's all these Americans, and then the one Indian guy was like, "This is just all of our movies. I don't know why you guys."
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, I 100% agree. I love RRR, and yeah, I gotta learn the how to not to before the before the year goes out. Um, Definitely. What was the best action scene in your opinion? If not the
I mean,
Charlie Carey.
it is very close. I think just the chaos of when he like shoots shoots an arrow but misses, but then like finishes the job, I think is like one of my favorite scenes of the year.
Yeah.
Easily.
So good. So good. I like the when he unleashes the animals in the palace. I think that's probably
Mm.
my favorite. Just that shot of him jumping out of the cage with them with the torches. Yeah, amazing. My number two, another long ass movie. Yeah, it's the Batman. Of course. I think um, this is the most authentic, the most well-rounded live action Batman for my taste. Um, I need to see it one more time before I decide if it's better than The Dark Knight. I'm leaning towards yes, just because I think the only argument The Dark Knight would have would be Heath Ledger. But no, yeah, like even then, like the Batman, the gothic aesthetics, the lurid pulp, and the humanity underneath his badassery. It's just all so like that's everything that I like about. That's the reason I still read Batman comics. Um, I love that it's a detective story as well. We've never seen a live action detective Batman movie. It's got a little bit of humor in there from Gordon and from Penguin, who, by the way, Colin Farrell is Penguin. Amazing. Pitch perfect. His voice made him totally unrecognizable, and I loved it. The freeway chase reminds me a little bit of To Live and Die in LA, and then it just gets way more crazy and way more metal from there. The title track, the track in the score is called Highway to the Anger Zone. Uh,
That's amazing.
yeah, like a lot of yeah, I think this is that's what takes this movie from good to great for me is the music by Michael Giacchino. Michael Giacchino has always been good. He's been amazing his entire career, but here he just really takes the cake, man. That simple bum 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 bum. It's such a simple melody, um, but it's not the cop out two notes that Hans Zimmer does for Batman. And, and
You and your Hans Zimmer slander every time you get a chance.
I'm sorry. Um, I just wish Hans would go back to the rock days when he was just a dad rock Hans Zimmer, you know? Um, no, yeah, Robert Pattinson's performance is amazing. Um, Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman is perfect. I don't know if she's the best Catwoman of all time compared to Pfeiffer, but she's certainly up there with her, I think. Adding a bunch of layers of vulnerability that we haven't seen from that character yet was really, really an amazing choice to me. And John Turturro, who I forgot was in it, was also very impressive. Yeah, gotta go with the Batman. Gotta go with the Batman.
Yeah, yeah. A good choice. I knew this one would crack your top three for sure. Didn't think it'd quite make number one, so I'm glad I was kind of close with one of my predictions at least. Um, yeah, I like I said earlier, pleasantly surprised by that one. One that I was not surprised that I enjoyed as much as I did. Probably your prediction for my favorite movie of the year. I think this year had at two 10 out of 10 movies for me. and this is the other one, and that's Everything Everywhere All at Once. I mean, like the
Hell yeah.
Sans the Daniels are literally just releasing one more movie away from being my favorite directors. Like, I love Swiss Army Man that much, and I love this one that much. I think everything from the family drama side of it to Jamie Lee Curtis and a butt plug. Like, I love every single second of this movie. The second I walked out of the theater, I was like, this is gonna be my favorite movie of the year. My girlfriend said this might be my favorite movie of all time. Like the second we walked out, and it's not like the type of movie that she would love. Like it's just that good. It has so much heart, um, and like I've never teared up at just a shot of two rocks before, and this movie made me do it. The cast, especially the main three, is incredible. Stephanie Sue is a damn force in this movie. I went back and I watched her audition for this, and it's literally Jobu Tobacco. Like, she just like embodied this character so hard, from the evil villainous side to just being a hurt daughter. It's just something that is incredibly relatable, start to finish, and some of just the most visually stunning work. I am 1000% tapped out on like multiverse movies and content, but like this for me is going to be the peak. I think when this fad starts to die down and we go back to just movies taking place in one reality instead of being obligated to fill every single one they can, I'll look back and have this be my favorite multiverse movie. Um, it's just incredible. It's profound. It's a shitload of fun. It's hilarious. It's the best movie of the year.
Hell yeah. My number one is Glass Onion, but written and directed by Ryan Johnson. Um, yeah, this is a standalone sequel to the 2019 film Knives Out. I saw this movie in theaters. I was lucky enough to catch it on one of Netflix's stupid 7-day, only 400 theater things. I wish they would expand it more, at least, even if it's just in theaters for a week. Like, at least give more theaters. But yeah, I know I loved it. I think it's just the most fun that I've had in a movie, and so well polished in its direction. I love the ensemble. We got Daniel Craig, Edward Norton, Janelle Monáe, Catherine Hahn, Leslie Odom Jr., Jessica Hennick, Madeline Klein, who I had not seen until this movie, and she was excellent. Kate Hudson, who I love every time I see her, and Dave Bautista, who's still, for a wrestler turned actor, like he's been the one who's pushed himself the most, who's stretched himself the most, and here playing like a hyper masculine man child, that's kind of riffing on, you know, um, what's his name? Fucking Andrew Tate. I just I love it. I love every single second that he's on screen. The freaking pistol inside of his speedo is brilliant. I thought the entire theater was laughing the entire time. It was just a really awesome communal experience that I got to have, and then even just watching on my own in Netflix, rewatching it. Um, I loved seeing all the little details, seeing the little clues that Johnson leaves for us. The movie is also very similar to a lot of his other movies, which kind of they're not nostalgic, but they play with nostalgia, and they take what we love about those things in the past, like those genres like neo noir or um, Star Wars or sci-fi with Looper, and they kind of just twist it a little bit. And I love that he was able to accomplish that with Glass Onion. I think it looks amazing too. I think the special effects are really seamless. Like I didn't catch really much CGI in it. Um, the Glass Onion itself as a set was so gorgeous. And I love Daniel Craig's performance as well. I'm glad that he took a little more, that the movie kind of shook it up a little bit by giving us more screen time of him, because most of the first one takes place in Ana de Armas's perspective, and I like that this one jumps around a lot more. I don't know if I like it more than Knives Out, but I certainly like it and enjoy it more than any other movie this year. I think it's the most polished as far as cinematography, editing, and sound, and music by Nathan Johnson could be a little bit better. But yeah, I thought it was also a very, very satisfying ending as well. That, like a Glass Onion, is they like he was talking about it too, and he was saying like, I need a metaphor that Blanc can beat to death with it. and he was playing this. He happened to be playing the song Glass Onion while he was writing the screenplay. That's how he got the title. But yeah, that's my number one.
Yeah, I know when I watched this, I texted you and I called it cheeks.
You called it ass.
Ass. All same. I think I need to go back to it. I like just personal, like reflecting back, I was a little harsh on it. That said, I still don't think it's near my top 22.
No.
But I don't know. I still I don't know. When I rewatch, I'll let you know. But
Yeah,
I think it's good, but not great for me.
very fair. Very fair. Yeah, a lot of differences between our lists this year, but also a lot
Yeah.
of similarities.
We had a smattering that was like flip flopped, and then
Yeah.
like complete just off the rails shit. But I'm happy to finally hear your list. I'm always more excited to hear your list than I am to give mine.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. I'm also excited to hear your favorites of the year, because I know, I know you always pick out like 2 or 3 that I totally miss, and I'm like, oh shit, I need to see that. So
Yeah, you
thank you.
gotta you gotta text me your list so I can catch up on everything else that I haven't seen. Also, no Bob's Burgers. What's up with you? I thought that might be your number one too.
That was the one I forgot in the honorable mentions, and as soon as you said it, I was like, oh shit.
I was like, this has to make his list at least. Come on.
Oh well. Sorry, Bob's Burgers. I'll just replace Babylon with you, retrospectively. Alrighty, folks. Thank you for listening to our best movies of 2022. We are excited for 2023. We'll get back to you soon. Hopefully, we'll have more time to record more episodes. But yeah, we love you.
See you guys in a year.
We love you. Goodbye.
Let's go.
What a lovely day!
Andy, there's a whole world out there. Jump in.
Can you dig it?
Yeah.
You must always pay strict attention.
I was just completely enamored by it the entire time.
Dude, he did not have to go that hard.
I know, man. Isn't it wild?
The Jared Cast.
So it begins.